Well, hello again and welcome back to the garage. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to my beautiful Bavarian behemoth, Big Bertha, or more accurately, my BMW K1200LT. As you've probably noticed, it's on the ramp, the handy 1200. There was no way that I could push this bike onto the ramp. I've managed to get the rest of the bikes on, the VFR, the CBX, the XJ, just push them up the ramp at the back. It's not a problem because they're not that terribly heavy, but this bike weighs 850 pounds, I believe. So there's not a chance that you can push it up the ramp. Also, that meant that I had to drive it up, and then I drive it up, obviously I'm sitting on it, and with the ramp sitting 4 or 5 inches above the ground, had I put my foot down and the bike tipped over to the one side, the two of us would have ended up on the floor. So, with the addition of a pallet, this is what was required to get me up to a decent level. I drove the bike up on, and I was able still to put my foot down on the left hand side, get off the bike and put it onto the centre stand without falling over, which was the main thing. I don't know if you're familiar with the K1200. It's a 4-cylinder water-cooled engine as opposed to the normal BMW flat twins and whatever. It's mounted front to back, 4 cylinders, water cooled. The cylinder head is over this side here, and the sump's at the far side, the crankshaft, etc. It's a fantastic bike. It's a great touring bike. I bought this bike about, I suppose it's about 8 years ago now. I actually bought it on eBay off a guy in Nottingham, and travelled over and picked it up. I brought it back home again, was very pleased. It had 18,000 miles on it whenever I got it, 18,054 to be exact, and there's 53,221 on it now. The longest run that I did was in 2017, in September, October time. I went to the south of Spain and stayed there with friends for a few days and came back home again. It was absolutely brilliant for that job. It's just, it eats the miles up, and it does 60 miles to the gallon. You can get it down a bit lower than 60 to the gallon, but you really struggle to get, it is very, very economical. We've got so many luxuries on it. Where will I start? Let's go up to the dash. I am a fan of music. Now, the bike has a radio and speakers, both sides, and also the rear. You can mute it as well if the passenger wants to shout at you. There's a large aerial here at the back as well. But if the music that's on the radio doesn't interest you, there's always the option of something else. Now, some of the more upmarket versions of the LT had a 5-disc CD multi-changer mounted in this pannier. This one I have doesn't have it. I've just got normal, leggings and stuff in there. But unfortunately, the CD multi-changer took up loads and loads of space and basically rendered the pannier unusable. A much more sensible method, I thought, was to, there's a cassette player. Remember those cassette players? I have an iPod, which I shall get out here now. I have one of these old-fashioned 30 gig iPods. I wired in straight from the battery a power line for that and one for charging the mobile phone, and I was able to get one of these things from Tesco's. How long? turn this on. This is years ago. It's a cassette with a plug that goes into your iPod, so you can play your iPod through the cassette player. It's fascinating stuff. So this is plugged in directly to the electric system of the bike, so the battery will never go flat. It's charging constantly. And what have I got? Pink Floyd, Peter Gabriel, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Get everything. One of my particular favourites, Rory Gallagher, Irish Tour, Cradle Rock. This song was the first Rory Gallagher song I ever heard, and it stuck with me forever. I tell you, there's nothing better than driving along a big road, open space, wind in your teeth, and a bit of good music playing. I'm going to have to turn it off there because I believe there are certain copyright issues when you put these things on YouTube. So what else have we got? Cruise control. At anything over about 40 miles an hour, with the cruise control switched on as it is here, that's off. On if you're in top gear, I think even in fourth gear, if you just flick the button, it goes on to cruise control. You don't have to work the throttle. The bike will just continue to motor along until you either hit the brake or turn it off with another flick. Which it sounds ridiculous, but it's a fantastic addition. You can just go onto a motorway, flick the button, 70 miles an hour, and the bike just stays at 70. It drives itself more or less. And you can, if you want, not that I ever would, take your hand off the handlebars, roll up a fag and have a smoke. Apparently some guy in South Africa at the launch of these bikes in 1999, some journalist did exactly that. He was able to, with the windscreen up and the bike on cruise control, he was able to roll a cigarette in behind the windscreen. Which reminds me, let's turn on the ignition. Depending on your height, obviously, would depend what wind would hit you. You've got an adjustable windscreen. So if we watch this, press the button. So that's, obviously you'd have it up like that if it was pouring rain, keep all the wet off you. And down there for speed. We've got an outside temperature, it's 12 degrees. 57.3 miles to the gallon indicated. 127 miles of fuel left in the tank. And an average speed of 39.2. See, I told you I go slow. That's 12, back to 12 degrees. You might be wondering what this is. If I told you it was reverse gear, you'd probably laugh as well, but I'm not joking, it is reverse gear. With the bike in neutral and the engine running, which I won't do it now because I say the engine needs to be going, you can bring this down to here, and if you press the starter motor button, the bike will reverse back. It's fantastic whenever the bike's maybe sitting slightly down an incline against the curb or something. It goes back at a maximum of 2 miles an hour. So basically if your feet in the ground, you press the starter button and the bike will drive itself backwards. There's a power outlet there if you want to avail yourself of some of the BMW products. You can get heated waistcoats and stuff like that. You could plug it in there. There's also a power outlet for the passenger as well here, 12 volt outlet. And I've got pannier on this side. I have pannier inserts that are bags that you put your gear in them, and whenever you get to wherever you're going, hotel or whatever it is, you just grab the bag, take it out and take it in with you. We also have the top box. I keep quite a bit of stuff in here as well. Okay, let's talk you through this. You're gonna love this. You've got your interior light. And a vanity mirror should you want to put some lipstick on. Or maybe not. That's the handbook and stuff in there. I'll knock that off. Pair of binoculars. This is actually a wee electric pump. Should you get a puncture, it plugs into the 12 volt outlet and you can pump your wheel back up and away you go. There's my tom-tom. Sat nav. Let's get this, set this in and see what happens. Sat nav's a bit of a, it's a strange one. It's alright, like, but it can be a bit of a pain in the butt. It decides it tells you where it wants you to go, and it's not necessarily always the handiest. I'll not even take you through it because that's us. We're close to somewhere now. Menu, stats, trip statistics. I like this. Ah, that has obviously reset itself. Distance travelled. Oh dear, the battery must have gone flat. That's a shame. I had quite a lot of stats on that, including a top speed that that wasn't 0 miles an hour, I can assure you. It's about 113 or something. Right, but not in this country, of course. Let's get back. There you go. Right, back to the top box. This was the old style sat nav. This is a wee pouch that came with the bike that you attached onto there, and you could put your map in there and sit and watch the map. But times have moved on since 1999. Loads and loads of bits and pieces, plenty of space, and there's a map of Ireland. Not that I need to know where I am in Ireland, for I always do. Let's get round here. The footrests are quite substantial for the passenger. Your foot's not going to slip off that. These little things here are wind deflectors, which you would imagine shouldn't really make that much difference, but it is amazing. Whenever they're out, there is virtually no wind around you at all. And in the summertime, if you get too hot, which is not that terribly often, you put them like that and the wind blows up around you. It's amazing. Headlight adjuster, up and down. And that's more or less it. The fuel cap's in there. This is lockable as well. The seats, as you can see, the back seat is particularly comfortable. You've got massive saddle plus a backrest there. My seat's not too bad either. And they're both, the seats are heated, you can switch them on. There's a switch here. Which is just brilliant. I also did a Xenon headlight replacement, a bulb, Let's see if I can get it fired up here. Side light. Some of those Xenon lights aren't that terribly good. I got a replacement set for the car and they were absolutely useless. I had to remove them, but this is really an addition. It helps the bike along. Of course, hazard lights as well. Lights off, ignition off. The main reason I have her on the ramp is because I'm going to put her up in the air, strip the skirt over and have a look underneath. So here we go. I would say the ramp might struggle a wee bit to get this up because it's massive weight. We'll have a look. It frightens me, it's that heavy. That's her on the locks now. Right. I'm going to remove the bottom half, this side, there's two side panels. That side panel and the centre panel, that'll allow me access in around the engine. Just to give it a bit of a clean up. There's two radiators up in here as well. Let's see if I can... So, it's a bit grubby in there. I mean, it's the sort of place that, unless you can strip everything off and get at it, it's gonna get dirty, you know. There's a few dead flies and stuff need carefully removed from the front of the radiators. So I'll move the camera over onto my chest mount and we'll start stripping bits and pieces off. It's a thing I've done a few times before. There's a lot of screws involved. But we'll start pulling pieces off and let you see what's happening. Right, let's make a start. There's two wee 3mm Allen key screws in here. That exposes that. Now, where are we? It's been a while since I've done this. My reverse knob has to come off. I can show you this here. If I move the back wheel, that's it, in reverse now. But we'll get it out of the road if it'll come off. It's a 25 Torx headed screws that all the rest of them are all that size. Gives a bit more space. To get out these. Waste. I hope that was just a wee stone or something dropping down. Where are we now? That one. And then it's attached at the front here with these three as well. And would you believe it's attached underneath? I think it's more. Yeah, there's a couple here. We're back to the 3mm to get these off. There you go. There's a few stones have gathered up in there. Let's see if this will come away now. There's a 12-volt power outlet here, which I'll have to get the clips off. That's it. Okay, let's get that out of the road. What we have here is the cylinder head, basically 4 spark plugs, which I changed not that terribly long ago, and I've done virtually no mileage on them. The exhaust system, 4 pipes, that looks like stainless. Is it stainless? I think it is, yeah. I'll give that a bit of a clean up, and then into the big silencer. That's the coil pack there. Your reverse gear spindle, that's your gear mechanism in there. The gear selector, which I've had off and stripped and lubricated. We'll pop around the far side and disconnect everything over that side as well. Well, there's the skirts are off her. And that's the bottom of the engine there. That's the oil filter housing in there, and sump bungs over there. What does it say? I'll not be changing it. Now, it does look grubby, but the engine's enclosed in there, and really and truthfully, any K1200LT, the engine's going to look like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully brush those dead flies off. Both sides. I might even try them with a hoover and see if that's a success. Well, that's the most of it off. I'll get in here with a smaller brush now and some solvent. I've put some sort of multi-purpose cleaner on here just to try and soften the flies up a bit. It's limited success. Well, I'd say the most of the flies are away now. There's just a few stubborn ones which I could probably attack with a small spiked tool, but that's a risky procedure, working on a radiator. Another method would be to blow them through carefully with the blowgun for the compressor, on the compressor. Don't know how I'm going to do this. Let's try and get that up there again. Let's try and get you in. By the time I've got the light in and got the camera in, there's no room left for anything else. This must be working because there's lumps of stuff hit me up the face already. It's going to get messy, boys. It's going to get messy. Right, I've give the bottom of the engine a bit of a spray here, and I'm going to get stuck in with the paintbrush. It's not wildly dirty, but I just want to get it nice and clean. Get in between the fins. Here's one for you. That's looking into the engine through the oil filler cap. That's actually the crankshaft, or the crankshaft. Big end bearings. If I can just get them, I can see them, but I know it's not that easy with this. I've been round with a cloth and I have fairly much cleaned up everything that I'm going to clean. I think we'll start reassembling, getting bits and pieces back on again. I did a wee bit in the exhaust there with the Solvol Auto Sol, but that's a heavy procedure. Right, we're just firing the panels back on again here now with the aid of the drill, which takes an awful lot of that work out of it. Square hand out of it. Well, I think that's it for the night. I've done as much as I'm going to do. Fairings are all back on again. Everything's cleaned up and polished. All we need now is for the snow to go away, because it's forecast for tomorrow. I don't think it'll be much. I hope it'll not be much anyway. And I hope they don't start gritting the roads again. That would be an awful pain in the butt. But she's looking good. She's definitely looking good. Clean as a whistle, 3,000 miles. Ready for a big summer of bacon. Right, catch you later.